Are- And you had one other priority item. Councilmember Caballero, would you mind leading that?
Thank you. So yes, there was 2 requests by 2 colleagues to add 2 questions, and then I responded back to just say, could we do that as part of the interview process? And so I want to make sure that we're okay with that. If that is the case, then the questionnaire is ready, and it can go live. I guess it's tomorrow that it goes live, correct?
Did you get an okay, or you need an okay from
I
me?
need to make sure that that's okay.
Is one of those my questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Okay.
good?
So we're all good with the questionnaire? Okay. Thank you. And then I think, just want to make sure that, Madam Clerk, can you tell us how many applicants we have currently?
Absolutely. We have 3 applicants so far.
Thank you for that. And it closes Thursday, correct?
Yes, Thursday at 5 p.m.
Okay, so the application, so the first step of the process closes at 5 p.m. this Thursday, and if you don't do the first part, you don't get invited to do the second part. So I see some of the press is here. For those who are wanting to apply, your clock is winding down. I do also want to let my colleagues know that, and I said this in an email, but I want to just share it publicly, that both the city clerk and I have had conversations with various Board of Election members, and there is consensus if we were to have to go to a special election, which means we fail on an appointment, because there is that word shall, so we have to make an attempt. It could not go to the March primary. I know there was some conversation around that. It's only if there was a special primary in May, which tends to be unlikely, in which case the next opportunity would be November 2024. So that is the timeline if we fail to make an appointment or enough people don't apply, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just wanting to name that the risk would be going until November 2024 for a special election. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you so much, and thank you, Chair Caballero, for your work in shepherding us through this process. This might be a question for the city attorney. My recollection is that we could piggyback on an election if it was coming up, or it's also within our purview to organize a special election if we I know it would cost money, but if we chose to, I thought we could, if there was no election within a certain frame period coming up and we were deadlocked, that we could call a special election.
So, Mayor Pro Tem, I would have to pull the charter provision and look again. It's been a few weeks since I've looked closely at it, but as I recall, it was we would put a special election on at the next available election. I can't remember exactly what the language is. Right. But as you just mentioned, having an election for a single issue, a single ballot for a single issue is pretty cost prohibitive.
Yeah, and
so.
Yeah, and you're right, because my recollection was that if we piggybacked on the next election, then by definition, it's not special. We're just taking advantage of the opportunity because one's already on the calendar. And if there's not within a certain amount of time, and you're going to pull the language. If I recall, if one's not, then yeah, it costs, but that's like the cost. If we can't agree as a council to fill a position, then that's something we have to, that's the cost of doing business, of paying for an election. If we decide we're probably going to fill a position, but if we should deadlock, that if I recall, and I'll give you opportunity to research it, that the options were piggyback on a scheduled election if it's within a certain time frame, and if not, then it's within our purview to call a special election and pay for it.
And I will examine that issue closely, although I think that special election it's special because it's not within your regular order and rotation of elections,
Gotcha.
right? So if the city council is placing an issue on a ballot, whether it's a referenda of some sort or something like this, it's special because it's not within your normal election schedule.
Got you. Fair enough. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, and I just want to provide one last clarification because it's come up. So there's been a lot of conversation around special election. Ourselves, Carborough, which does not have the word shall, so they are open to just a choice on their end, which is why sometimes you see elections on their side instead of an appointment. And I cannot remember the third city. Those are the only places in North Carolina that didn't have the possibility. The appointment process is standard. So I'm just, again, sharing that for the community because I think sometimes folks see what's happening in Carborough. They're literally the only community in North Carolina that does it that way. They have a choice based on the wording of their charter that we do not have. And then I can't remember the third location.
This one?
I think it is High Point. It is High Point. Thank you. So that was a fun fact that I learned speaking to some Board of Election folks. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Chair Caballero.